that are affecting me. Rise in crime, poverty, issues in my own country. But today we're talking about it. Yes, we're gonna talk about it. Ain't nobody wants to open their mouth, but we don't speak out. At the Youth Zone, searching for solutions for the issues in our nation. That's the only way we know that we can make it. It's going down. At the Youth Zone, we may be young, but we're the next generation, and we're here to save our nation. Oh, at the Youth Zone. You are now in the Youth Zone.
Hey everyone, welcome to the Youth Zone. Well, in a few months, this country will get the chance to decide whether the Constitution of the Bahamas will change. The much talked about constitutional referendum and 4 gender equality bills will happen following the passage of the bills overwhelmingly in both halls of Parliament.
These bills have caused much controversy as people question whether the passing of these new laws will make room for same-sex marriage, and also whether it puts the sovereignty of the nation regarding citizenship at question. These bills seek to make men and women equal in the country. And while that may sound like a given, there appears to be some who still have an issue with it.
Very true.
Now that's deep. And while we've seen a whole lot of special interest groups express their views, but from what I can see, it appears to be a very good step in the right direction.
True.
But while we've heard so many opinions on this issue, it is important for us to understand what these bills actually seek to do so that we as young people can have a voice in our country.
I totally agree. We should be involved in what's happening. And that's exactly why we're here today. On this show, we talk about the gender equality bills and the upcoming referendum.
Well, our discussion begins when we come right back.
Stay close. These 4 bills, what's your views on these things? You supporting it? You against it? Do you don't understand it? Do you understand it? How do you feel?
I say no to all 4.
Oh Lord, here we go.
Yes, here we go.
The reality is we can't change. The law already says it can happen on one side. So what this law is seeking to do is to make it equal, that both people have the same access, that the way women feel is if you have access to a certain right in the Bahamas, why shouldn't they have access to that same right?
It's going down. At the Youth Zone, we may be young, but we're the next generation, and we're here to save our nation. To save our nation. Oh, at the Youth Zone. You are now in the Youth Zone.
Well, it's time to turn up the heat. There's still the life of the party and the
News with all the views.
We're talking about our TYZ panel. Hey guys, welcome back another week. How y'all doing? Okay, so gender equality. Y'all know what that means?
Yeah.
We're gonna find out. So how you feel about all these bills, these 4 bills? What's your views on these things? You supporting it? You against it? Do you don't understand it? Do you understand it? How do you feel?
I say no to all 4.
Oh
of them.
Lord, here we go.
Yes, here we go. And these are my reason, right? First of all,
I'm dying to hear them.
okay, so Bill 1 speaks about passing on citizenships from the mother who's married to a foreign spouse, passing on her citizenship to her kids. I feel as though both shouldn't have. There should be a restriction on both sides. I feel as though it shouldn't be allowed. There should be a restriction. There should be something placed. Whereas if they do get married, there is like a 5-year term. Then you apply for it, like some sort of restriction.
But I'm gonna stop you there because it's not automatic. You still have to apply.
Exactly.
The law is not saying that it automatically becomes in place, that you automatically get citizenship. You still have to apply. You still,
right after you get married.
There are still steps you have to take. And like you said, you don't think it should happen on both sides. The reality is we can't change. The law already says it can happen on one side. So what this law is seeking to do is to make it equal, that both people have the same access, that the way women feel is if you have access to a certain right in the Bahamas, why shouldn't they have access to that same right?
Exactly, so that's why I take it away from both.
What the law is seeking to doing is to give you, you just changed your answer. What the law is seeking to do is give you equal rights, because you can't change what's already there. So what you can do is try and make it equal so that both people have access to it, but there's still a review panel. There's still a process. You don't automatically get it. There's still a process. What the law is seeking to do is to ensure that what you have access to, that same lady next to you have access to the same thing as a Bahamian.
Okay, so what about
So
Bill?
that number one out.
So what about Bill
say yes
3
now.
that
Okay.
speaks to an unwed Bahamian male who can pass on his citizenship to his kids? Because right now it's prohibited.
Right.
So right now, if the bill is passed, it would give them that option. So what about the female?
Female already has that right.
They already have that right?
Yeah.
All right, cool. I didn't know that. And now I'm educated. That's
Right.
awesome. So
And I ain't even guess yet.
I know, right?
right? Go ahead.
I know. So imagine when the guest comes on. So we spoke about Bill 1, and now we spoke of Bill 3. So what about Bill 2? Bill 2 speaks of the fact of on the nature of passing on citizenship to their spouses. I feel as though that's just opening up the door or the arena for convenience.
Okay.
To say, okay, now that both sides can just pass on their citizenship, let me just get married for the convenience
So
of
isn't
it.
that a challenge we have right now with convenience on the other side?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. So we'll put that question to our guests, and they're gonna answer. That. All
Exactly.
right? Bill number 4.
And bill number 4. Bill number 4. Let me take a deep breath. Oh, God, I got a twist for this one. Because, you know the controversial topic on bill number 4, how it will open up the floodgates to gay marriage, because the interpretation of sex inside our law is justified. It says what sex is inside our law, which is male and female, but international standards and international law have a different perspective and a different interpretation on what sex is.
Okay.
So I feel as though voting on 4 will just open up the floodgates to gay marriage, because now they have constitutional rights to sue based on discrimination.
I'll let our guests explain that too, but you just said something different. You said international laws. The Constitution is based on the Bahamas, not international law. So what our Constitution defines what marriage is, which is between a man and a woman. There's nothing that can change that. The only way that can be changed is if you amend the marriage laws of the Bahamas, and that's not up for being amended. So nothing can supersede the Constitution, which says a marriage is between a man and a woman. Don't mind what you hear people saying. All right, next person, go ahead. Let's hear your views. They ought to hire me to work for them.
Yeah, they are too.
I've been covering this thing so long, I know them. That's why. Go ahead.
I kind of agree with Anton on bill number 2. I feel as though we need many people will get married based on convenience. Okay, we're gonna get citizenship to the Bahamas. Let's just get married. I think there needs to be a stern restriction on this. Let's do what the United States is do. Give them a whole test. Sing the national anthem for me. State my pledge. Don't be like these people around you
How about
who
you talk about the
who don't
Bahamians?
even know the national flower or something.
Bahamians don't know that.
But that's what I'm saying. You need to, if you want to be a Bahamian, I just think that's what you need. You need to know what's going on in that Bahamas.
Okay, interesting point. Anybody else have? Go ahead.
I think that
Yeah.
I think they're talking about bill number 2 with the wife being able to pass on citizenship. Why not? Why not?
Why not?
Why not? Bahamians were so hypocritical. We don't want other people to be a part of our country, but we feel like we should impede and we should be a part of other people's country. Bahamians go to the United States every year, and they want to have their children in the United States so they can be U.S. citizenships based on their, U.S. citizens based on their law. Now, if a woman decides that she wants to get married to a foreign man, I've heard people on the news station saying, "Oh, the husband, she needs to follow the husband and go to the husband's country." What is that? She's a Bahamian woman. Why doesn't she have the same right as Bahamian men for her husband to come and settle down in the country of her birth?
Good point.
And be comfortable.
Good point. Good point. We're gonna. I know you all have a lot of questions. I think it's best if we bring our guest in because our guest has the answer to all of those, and we're gonna meet her right after the break because she has the solution. We just have the questions. Stay close. You're in the Youth Zone.
If you were to Google the 1996 South African Constitution and just review Article 9, Article 9 talks about non-discrimination, and it actually lists sex, gender, sexual preference, sexual orientation.
Wow.
Our Constitution is not seeking to go that far. We're limiting it to simply sex, and sex being male or female.
nation. Oh, at the Youth Zone. You are now in the Youth Zone.
Welcome back, guys. And if you're just joining us, we're talking about the 4 gender equality bills. So let's meet our special guest. She's a member of the Constitutional Reform Commission. Please welcome the beautiful Brandeis Duncanson.
Oh, welcome to these.
Thank you.
Welcome to Brandeis. Thank you. All right, so let's begin. What are these 4 bills? Just for clarification for those watching that may still need to understand what they seek to do. Tell us what each bill seeks to do.
Okay, and I'll just quickly run through all 4. Bill number 1 is seeking to allow a married Bahamian woman to pass her citizenship to her child born abroad. Currently, a married Bahamian man can pass the citizenship to his child born outside of the Bahamas, but a child born to a married Bahamian woman has to wait until it's 18 and before the age of 21 to register as a citizen of the Bahamas.
Wow.
And so Bill number 1 is seeking to equalize the sexes in that regard and to allow the married Bahamian woman the same right to transfer her citizenship as the married Bahamian man already has a right to do. Okay? And Bill number 2 is seeking to allow a Bahamian woman to pass her citizenship on to her foreign spouse. Similarly, the way a Bahamian man already has the right to do. Bill number 3, and I need to add that Bill number 2 is also seeking to insert safeguards that will guard against marriages of convenience. So for the first time, you will see our Constitution expanded to include these safeguards.
Wow.
Similarly, in Bill number 3 is actually seeking to address the one distinction in our Constitution that discriminates Bahamian men against Bahamian men directly. As you know, where there is a marriage, citizenship is traced through the father, as illustrated in Bill number 1. But where there is no marriage, citizenship is traced through the mother. So unmarried Bahamian mothers have always had the right to pass their citizenship on to their children born out of wedlock, and that's whether that child is born in the Bahamas or abroad. However, Bahamian men do not have the corresponding right. And so Bill number 3 is seeking to elevate the unmarried father to the same status as the unmarried Bahamian mother. However, when he applies for citizenship for his child, that application will have to be accompanied by scientific proof that he is the father of that child.
A paternity test.
Exactly. DNA test.
Over
DNA test that he is the
99%.
father. Okay, and the Status of Children Act will be amended to outline the parameters of that test should the bill be successful in the upcoming referendum. And Bill number 4 is seeking to establish a fundamental principle of non-discrimination in our country against a person's sex. Right now, it's lawful, so to speak, or the Constitution doesn't prohibit discrimination based on sex. And so Bill number 1 is seeking now to alleviate discrimination where it doesn't fall into the categories set out in Bills 1, 2, and 3. And also Bill number 4 is seeking to insert a definition of sex in the Constitution. Right now, the word sex is already in our Constitution in Article 15, but without a definition, which means, as I heard someone had spoke about international standards and definitions, which mean actually today, without the definition, a court can impose its own interpretation on sex.
Wow.
And so now, by inserting the definition in our Constitution, you're restricting it to simply meaning male and female.
So this action, the passing of this will actually clear up any kind of opportunities for people to interpret it to mean same-sex marriages, same-sex or sexual orientation kind of thing. This actually clears it up even more.
Exactly. You look like a really bunch of intelligent young people. If you were to Google the 1996 South African Constitution and just review Article 9, Article 9 talks about non-discrimination, and it actually lists sex, gender, sexual preference, sexual orientation.
Wow.
Our Constitution is not seeking to go that far. We're limiting it to simply sex, and sex being male or female.
Wow.
Do you feel as though any of the first three bills can cause infighting between spouses or anyone in a relationship, seeing as someone could sneak behind another person's back and give this child their citizenship or anything like that?
I'm not quite sure I understand your question, because with Bill number 1, like I said, the child now will be able to obtain Bahamian citizenship through its Bahamian mother or father. In Bill number 2 could possibly cause some type of dissension, and that's simply because the application for citizenship for the foreign spouse has to be endorsed by the Bahamian. And so the foreign spouse cannot submit an application for citizenship without the signature of the Bahamian. So maybe that's something that may cause some type of, a little bit of something in a relationship. If the Bahamian spouse decides, well, I don't want to endorse your application. I'm quite happy with you simply remaining on a resident spousal permit.
So that totally rules out the whole dual citizenship. If it were
What are we referring
to play
to? Bill number 1 or 2?
Bill number 2. Will that rule out the whole purpose of? Because I heard some persons mentioning or talking about having dual citizenship if they were to, if a Bahamian were to marry a foreign spouse. So will they still have the right to be committed to their own country?
Well, that would depend on the law of their country, but I know our laws doesn't permit dual citizenship on the basis of marriage.
Okay.
On the basis of marriage.
Glad you
Right.
clarified that.
Okay.
But it depends on the spouse's country of
So
birth.
earlier you cleared up for us all of our misunderstandings about Bill 4 and the other bills. So how do you guys intend to reach out to the general public who do have a lot of misunderstandings about the bills, especially Bill number 4?
Well, since the bills have been tabled in July of 2014, we have been canvassing the entire archipelago. I've had the opportunity of visiting every inhabited island in this country.
Wow.
And we've been hosting town meetings. We have a web page on the Bahamas government website where we've been uploading information for persons to go and download and read. We've put together a frequently asked question pamphlet that we hand out as well. And also persons just who want to go and maybe convene a group, they call the commission and we come out and we present. So we've presented at church groups, youth groups. We've even had families just invite us over on a Sunday to explain the bills, and we've made ourselves available. And that's continuing.
And are you finding what happened here? A lot of misconceptions, and when they hear it's broken down and explained, then you're like, okay, is that what you're finding happen as you go and explain this bill to people?
All the time. When we were out in the family islands and after our presentations, persons came up to us and were like, that's it? So what's all the hullabaloo I'm hearing on the radio?
I think you talk to the talk show host. Because they generate, and I think a lot of times they do it just to generate a spicy talk show, and it's at the risk of giving people wrong information. And I think that needs to be monitored, because these bills are very important for our country. And I think people need to understand what they mean so that they can make sensible decisions and not feel as if there's some hidden agenda or that there's some untoward or some political motive behind it, but to understand there's really ensuring that for our children and our future that they have equal footing. No one wants to raise children where, depending on the sex of your child, they may not be considered equal or have the same rights. Exactly. We all want to make sure our children have the access to the same rights. So I think this is what makes the bills so important to me as a father, is to ensure that my daughter has the exact same right that anybody else's son would have. So I can say that now.
Exactly. And, before I leave, it really would be remiss of me not to address the whole issue of same-sex marriage. And I'll break it down. Our Constitution actually allows what is called a permissible discrimination when it comes to adoption, marriage, burial, personal property, personal rights, and that's contained in Article 26(4)(c) of the Constitution. Additionally, Article 30 of the Constitution preserves the definition of marriage, which was governed our Bahamas long before the Constitution. And it says that a marriage is between one man and one woman for life.
Wow.
And that is preserved in our Constitution, like I said, by Article 30. 26 allows a permissible discrimination, and then our Matrimonial Causes Act says that where a marriage is not between a male and a female, it's void. Not voidable, void. It doesn't even arise or exist.
That's in the Constitution.
That's in our Matrimonial Causes Act, but it's preserved in the Constitution. Because the Constitution says, notwithstanding that you cannot discriminate on a person on their race, place of origin, political opinion, and the like. And of course, now we will be including sex. But when it comes to issues of marriage, adoption, burial, and the like, you can discriminate. And so we do. Classic example, gaming. The Constitution allows a discrimination with respect to gaming.
True.
And our gaming laws is reflective of saying Bahamians can't gamble in the casinos.
But foreigners can.
Exactly. And that's the Constitution allows that.
Yeah.
Wow.
And so it's the same type of discrimination, permissible discrimination with marriage.
Wow. I think you cleared this up a lot
Yeah.
for us and young people. Thank you so much for sharing that information for us and allowing them to be able to make sensible decisions. You have one more point. Go ahead, quickly.
Okay, so I'm totally glad that you clarified everything up for our viewers, but I need to know, because I don't want this to be a slap in the face when we go to actually vote. Will this be binding? Will, when we go to vote, and if we say no, they listen?
This is a constitutional referendum.
That's what we were told
It's
about the gaming.
binding.
No, gaming wasn't a constitutional
No.
referendum.
They say
Gaming-
referendum, opinion poll.
The gaming referendum was an advisory referendum.
Right.
And as you know, people give you advice all the time. You don't have to take it. But this is a constitutional referendum. And I'll point out certain things to you. With the gaming referendum, there was no voting of the bills in the House, so to speak. It wasn't referred to the Senate, so to speak, and there wasn't that mandate of having a 3/4 majority of the member of Parliament. Okay? With a constitutional referendum, Article 54 lays out the entire process. And also, when it goes to the people, once it would obtain the 3/4 majority in the House and the Senate, when it comes to us, it's by way of a simple majority. And so we, the people, have the last say. So if only 100 of us come out to vote on referendum day, and 51 vote yes, 49 say no, the yes carries it, notwithstanding that our population is some 350,000 persons. And that's why coming out to vote is so important. But it is binding. A constitutional referendum is binding. An advisory referendum is not. And that's the distinction.
And also, you're voting on each one. So there may be a possibility where one or two of them may get yeses and be carried, and the other ones get noes. So you have to vote on each one. And that's how the decision is made.
Very
of course,
good. That's
and you have to
correct.
be registered to vote. So young people who are at the age where when you can vote, you need to go and register, because you can't vote in a referendum unless you are registered, correct?
Yes.
Thank you so much for talking with us
Thank
and
you.
giving us information. Shall
Thank
we
you
give
so
her a
much
hand?
for having
Oh,
me.
thank you. Ale?
Well, we're not out of talk, but we're out of time. So let's continue the discussion on social media at our Facebook page, The Youth Zone, and Twitter page, we're at The Youth Zone 242. Or meet us on our interactive chat live at ZenXBahamas.com.
But don't go anywhere. Our TYZ News is right after the break.
Stay close.
Zone. We may be up, but we're the next generation, and we're here to save our nation. At the Youth Zone. You are now in the Youth Zone.
Hey everybody, I'm Jose Etienne and we're back, bringing you not only important, but also popular youth news. The 12th annual island-wide art tour, Transforming Spaces, was hosted recently. There were many contemporary art pieces to be featured. Scores of adolescent and teen girls attended the Straw Incorporated Center for Young Women's 12th Annual Girls Leadership Conference, recently held under the theme, No Empty Chairs. President Terry Cunningham says the idea behind the theme is to inspire young women who are impacted by negativity in their lives to fill the empty chairs or vacant spots, to push them away and realize they do not have to be limited. She offered this advice to young ladies. The talents of the nation's youth were unleashed through poetry, song, and dance as the Department of Education hosted its 24th annual Culturama. The event, hosted with the Bahamas Modern Languages Association, carried the theme, Explore the World, Learn Another Language. 16 public and private schools from the primary to senior levels participated. Senior Education Officer for High School Foreign Languages in the Ministry of Education, Danella Davis, says the level of talent among participants has grown significantly over the years. We also want to hear from you if you have news regarding our phenomenal youth. Well, that, my friends, is the news for this week. I'm Jose Etienne. Please don't touch that remote. Stay tuned for my Youth Zone after the break.
Save our nation. At the Youth Zone. You are now in the Youth Zone.
Welcome back. Well, we're back with another exciting season of learning to speak Mandarin. Our language coach is here, Tanya McFall. Hey, Tanya.
大家好，我们开始吧. Good afternoon, everyone, and hello, everyone, and let's begin. So, of course, we're looking at this month, we're looking at gender equality and the work of women. Women is new red. Let me hear you. New red. So what we're going to do today, we're going to talk about some outstanding women, Chinese women. For example, there's a lady by the name of Gao. Gao she's an awesome lady. She was all about justice and equality for everyone. When her husband got arrested for murder, she broke into the jail, snuck her husband out. Now, we're not encouraging people to go and break anyone out of jail, but what we're saying is that the passion that she had to help others and to make a change for her country was extraordinary. She and her husband had to run away from where they were to another area, and they used all the refugees and they taught them martial arts. So by them learning the martial arts every day, there was an all-female group that they led to Beijing that took over the Ming Dynasty. And after they defeated the Ming Dynasty, she made her husband emperor. Isn't that just awesome?
An ex-murderer.
So, and that is one example of some of the extraordinary things that we have. Another extraordinary woman was the name of Lin Mo. When she was born, she didn't cry for a month. So Mo, meaning silence, they gave her that name. She was all about, she was a big supporter of her father, who was a Coast Guard agent, for lack of a better term. And she was so intelligent. By the age of 5, she remembered all classical text. At the age of 7, she was a highly recommended, highly sought after scholar. And we have Lin Mo, who, when her father and her brother went missing, she was the one who went into the storm and found her father. Her brother died, but she still made these big changes. She predicted the weather. All the men, all the captains had to seek her knowledge and her wisdom. And today, because of her efforts, even as a doctor, a healer, and she taught about preventative measures, today she's worshipped as a maritime goddess. So when we see people like Lin Mo, and when we see people like Gao, everyone knows about Bruce Lee? Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay, Bruce Lee does martial art that was founded by women. Wow. One of the ladies who did it was a nun. The other one was a disciple of Shaolin. Everybody knows about the Shaolin Temple? Mm-hmm. Okay, and you learn what art there? Kung Fu, right? So these two ladies, they came up with this martial art that is promoted by a man, but when you look at it and when you study it, you understand that it was all about teaching women how to defend themselves against a bigger or quote-unquote stronger opponent. And today, we have the martial arts scene all over the world. So So for us, it's a great reminder that no matter who you are and what you can do, whether you're a woman, whether you're a man, there's nothing that you possibly do. And let's quickly talk about some of the occupations that we know women do all around the world. Let's see. Doctor was what? Let's see who remembers. Doctor, who remembers? Come on, for a prize, I'll give it to you. Begins with Y. Oh, good try. Ishang, remember? Ishang. And remember, teacher was what?
Lancer.
Come on. Lauscher. Very good. Thank you. Lauscher. All right. And let's talk about some of the other things. What do we know women have such a big role? What's one of the most important roles in your life?
Mama.
Mama. Mama is what?
Mama.
And that's our mother. All right. And so anyone remembers how we say grandmother? Think about
Mama.
Nai. Thank you, Miss Gibson. Nai, right? So these are all the different areas that women have made such positive impacts in our world. And that's our lesson for today.
Thanks a lot. It's about that time when we focus on our encouraging entrepreneurship. We call it Stripes of My Own Business. This season we focus on Bahamas Striping Company. Take a look.
What is a Bahamian business? If it's a business operating in the Bahamas that improves some aspect of our social landscape, fuels money back into the Bahamian economy, while giving Bahamians an opportunity to develop professionally and personally, then Bahamas Striping definitely fits the bill. Formed 3 years ago by young entrepreneur and government self-starter recipient Atario Mitchell, Bahamas Striping is not just dedicated to marking roads, but committed to leaving indelible marks on the lives of young Bahamians. Youth who are not just in search of a job, but in pursuit of a career.
Well, in this particular field, this market was normally controlled by a foreign company. And once I started my company, I wrote letters to the government letting them know that I'm a Bahamian company, that this work shouldn't be given to foreigners. I'm a Bahamian, I actually employ Bahamians. The foreigner doesn't employ any Bahamian at all. So I feel that as a Bahamian, employing Bahamians, I feel that I should have first right to this a job. And I wasn't like, I was successful in getting some work, but now after meeting with the Deputy Prime Minister, Mr. Davis, he assured me and my company, along with other striping companies, that we will have a fair chance to get work under their administration. And so far, I have been getting a fair chance, and work you see me, what I'm doing now is actually work that was given to me through the ministry. And all they ask me to do is keep up the good standards and keep on employing Bahamians.
Maintaining a quality standard is not just lip service for Mitchell, who took an unprecedented and costly approach to employee development and training.
Mr. Mitchell and his company, I consider them very visionary. He has, over the past 6 to 9 months, I think, had brought in a UK trainer that is properly trained in striping, and the gentleman has been actively involved in embracing the UK standard and lending that assistance to his company. So they are doing that on a daily basis. I know that they're having meetings outside of their project portfolio. So they are being properly trained, and I must commend him for a 3-year company spending that type of resources to bring in a consultant at this time to properly train his staff. So he has taken all the necessary steps that needs to be taken in order for his company to further advance.
Well, there's two types of striping. There's paint and there's thermoplastic, like what we doing now. That is what you see on the major highways and stuff like that. It's a more complex product. So and dealing with the highways, the markings have to be accurate. So what I did is I went and find a UK certified striper named Brian Bostock and bring him in to train me and my crew to make sure that we do the work up to the correct standards.
The work that Mr. Mitchell and his company does up to this point is personally on par. And I can say the last set of work that I've witnessed is even better. than some of the work that we have seen done by their foreign counterpart.
And even though it may seem that road striping is really just striping the road, closer inspection reveals this industry is more technical than it seems.
Save our nation. At the Youth Zone. You are now in the Youth Zone.
What's happening in your school? What sets you apart from the rest? Well, every week we find out when we feature a different school. And this week we're featuring R.M. Bailey Senior High School. Please welcome Senior Mistress, Mrs. Maycock.
Hi. Clearly some face of pride in the house. Mrs. Maycock, tell us a little bit about R.M. Bailey School. What stands out at R.M.?
Well, first of all, we are set apart from the rest. We pride ourselves, firstly, on being disciplined. We have teachers who are concerned, they're positive. Our third fact, we have parents who are supportive of us.
Wow.
We have children who are willing and eager to learn, and we are in a disciplined environment and clean.
So I really focused in on the key part about the parent involvement because that's something that's so lacking in so many schools. How are you able to get that kind of involvement with parents?
Well, what we try to do there is that we have our PTA meetings and we let them know that at each grade level, they're expected to at least come to 3 PTA meetings. And they attend, because we just had one the other night on Thursday night, and for the 12th graders, and we had an overwhelming support of those parents.
That's awesome. Tell us who you have here with you.
Well, to my right, I have head of the Modern Languages Department, Ms. Gibson.
Oh, that was the person who's talking on the Mandarin.
Yes,
okay.
who's giving on the Mandarin, yes. And to my left, I have Ms. Hepburn, who is in the Social Science Department.
All right, let's hear from you ladies on what's going on in your departments.
Well, last week or the end of this week, we celebrated Modern Languages Week. However, we didn't celebrate it to the extent that I like to, because I have a student teacher. And so my task is to simply mold and model and shape her to come into the profession so that I can retire in peace.
Well, that's awesome.
Yes.
That's awesome. So what are some of the languages you're teaching at R.M. Bailey?
We teach both French and Spanish.
And how is that coming along with
It's
students?
coming along quite well. For 2 years, we taught Mandarin. And I didn't learn Mandarin from my fine Laotia. I learned Mandarin in Beijing, China.
Wow.
Therefore, so we've had Mandarin for 2 years. We teach French and we teach Spanish. And then, of course, because we have a wonderful Haitian population, my French teacher would engage them with the Creole.
And I was about to ask that because that would seem to be very, very fitting for our Bahamian population and our Bahamian students to be able to relate and to interact. And how has that been going?
It goes quite well because I've visited his class on several occasions, and I know that when they have a difficult time assimilating the French, he would go into the Creole and bring them into where they need to be with the French. So it works quite well.
That's creative. Let's hear from you. You're in the modern languages?
I'm in the social science department.
Social sciences. Tell us about that.
And there's a lot going on. But before I get into some of the details, we at R.M. Bailey, we are about rebranding. Very important here when we think of best practices in education. And one of the things that we're focused on is accountability. I have to piggyback on something that Ms. Maycock was saying in response to you about how we get our parents out. Parents are very, very important in terms of stakeholders being accountable. And our principal insists this is not about teachers and students, because teachers see each other all day, every day, 5 days a week. And at R.M. Bailey, it could be 6 or 7. And that ties in with our rebranding exercise. And so our parents are very accountable. And that takes us to the social science department. My subject coordinator, Mr. McIntosh, hi Mark. We're a small department, but we have bought into rebranding. This year, we have got an entire 10th grade class taking the BGCSE.
Wow.
That ties into branding, okay? We're expecting great things from them. Last year, we started off with some of the 10th graders. We were very successful. We had 100% passes with those whom we entered last year.
Wow.
And this year, we've got our 10th graders taking history and geography. We've got our 11th graders taking history and geography, and of course, the standard 12th graders as well. We're also very, very sold on the National High School Diploma, wherein we're giving those students who did not successfully pass the social studies the opportunity to resit, and we're excited about that. Good. And so we're looking forward to having a core group get in there come May and June and do their very best. We are known for being pace setters. Hi over there. And so as a social science teacher, I'm very excited about that. I would be remiss if I did not add some of the students right here behind me.
Yes.
They will all be taking it with those wonderful grade point averages ranging from a 3.2 to a 3.9.
Wow.
And so with that in mind, we in the social science department, we are going to piggyback on that. And our goal is to tie in with that rebranding exercise, is to ensure that every student within the social science department leave the social science department with both history and geography. And then we're going to pass them on to the religious studies department. And so when you graduate from R.M. Bailey's social science program, it is our goal that you have all three of the social sciences that we offer.
That's remarkable.
Yes.
Remarkable. Let's hear from at least two of the students what you love about your school. What do you love about being a part of R.M. Bailey School? Give us your name and go and tell us.
My name is Myra Camp. I am the head girl at R.M. Bailey Senior High School.
Congratulations.
One thing I love about R.M. Bailey is the discipline. At most schools, you cannot find that amount of discipline in the students. At R.M. Bailey, we believe in pace of pride, meaning that we come to school every day and we are willing to learn. R.M. Bailey is also unique because at R.M. Bailey, we live under a theme of SHOES, students having opportunities for excellence and success.
Oh, yeah.
Meaning that every student has an opportunity to learn, no matter your background or where you come from, you have an opportunity to learn. And at R.M. Bailey, before you come to R.M. Bailey, every student has to vow to their school oath, meaning that they will maintain the honor of their school. And I am happy that as students, we can learn in a clean and disciplined environment under our principal who believes that D plus C is equal to S, meaning that discipline plus a clean environment is equal to successful students. So at R.M. Bailey, we make sure that our students are positive and our teachers, they teach and they are determined to get us where we need to be. And that is what I love about my school.
That's awesome. Let's hear from one of the gentlemen, one of the guys. Any one of the guys. All right, give us your name.
My name is Dimitri Fowler from Tenor, R.M. Bailey. What makes R.M. Bailey a good school is that Mr. Johnson himself has been a father figure to many of us.
Wow.
Even so that every year in October, we have a Father's Day, and he is very supportive, and that's where majority of the men come to the school and we just reach out towards one another.
That's awesome. That's awesome. You know, I'm so liking the fact that your school focuses on the entire being. It's academics, it's the person, it's the family structure, and I think that's so important for our young people to get holistic teaching. Because they face a world that deals with holistic issues, and they have to know well-roundedly how to be able to interact. And you can hear from these students that they have holistic education, and that's what a lot of our schools need to focus more on. Congratulations to you. Thank you. Congratulations to you. I hear y'all got a school song, R.M. Bailey. Is that true? Can we get that school song? You want to go back in the audience and get the school song? All right, let's go back and let's get. R.M. Bailey's going to give us their school song. So without further ado, the R.M. Bailey Pacers and their school song.
The greatest. The greatest. The greatest school of all.
It's going down at the Youth Zone. We may be young, but we're the next generation, and we're here to save our nation. Oh, at the Youth Zone. Here to save our nation. Oh, at the Youth Zone. You are now in the Youth Zone.
Well, it's been so great hanging with you guys. Hit us up on our Twitter page at YouthZone242 or Facebook at the Youth Zone.
Or email us at theyouthzone242@zenasbahamas.com. We want to hear from you.
Definitely we do. Finally on the show, our artist of the week is a producer, drummer, and vocalist. He's worked with Visage and the 2016 Best Carnival Band Award winners, the Masqueraders. He's getting ready to take soca by storm. Please welcome to the Youth Zone, Benji. See you next week, everyone.
Youth Zone. Hey, let's go.
It's me, Benji. Let's go, let's go.
Hey, hey bam bam, hey bam badam, hey bam bam, hey bam badam day. You son they cannot refuse it. Hey bam bam, hey bam badam, hey bam bam, hey bam badam day. Alele bam bam, give me the soca music. There's a rhythm in me head. Every time we touch the bed, lay bam bam, lay bam badam, lay bam bam, lay bam badam day. There's a rhythm in me soul, so I got to play the role. Lay bam bam, lay bam badam, lay bam bam. It's a rhythm inside that makes me wanna fly. Every time I hear that soca beat, my heart start pumping, pumping. Mr. DJ, pull the tune up one more time. I can't stop, cause I hearing it again. Lay bam bam, lay bam badam, lay bam bam, lay bam badam day. You so they cannot refuse it. Lay bam bam, lay bam badam, lay bam bam, lay bam badam day. Aaron Bailey, he loves the soca music, and it got me going, and it have me champagne. It's all day we pumping. Bahamas, and it have me going, and it have me champagne. It's all day we pumping. Show me the moves. There's a rhythm in the drum that just get we body nam. Lay bam bam, lay bam badam, lay bam bam, lay bam badam. There's a rhythm in the beat, so I got to touch the street. Lay bam bam, lay bam badam, lay bam bam. It's a rhythm inside that makes me wanna fly. Every time I hear that soca beat, my heart starts. Mr. DJ, pull the tune up one more time. Hey, bust the dance, bust the dance. Hey, cause I hearing it again. Lay bam bam, lay bam badam, lay bam bam, lay bam badam day. Bahamas, they cannot refuse it. Lay bam bam, lay bam badam, lay bam bam, lay bam badam day. Hey, I'ma say give me the soca, and it have me going, and it have me jumping. It's all day we pumping. You've son, and it have me going, and it have me jumping. We're gonna sing along, right? Lambada dam dam badeo, oh 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 oh. Lambada dam dam badeo, oh. Lambada dam dam badeo. So, hey, lambada dam dam badeo. Put up your hand like this. Way bam bam, lay bam badam, lay bam bam, lay bam badam day. Zedones they cannot refuse it. Lay bam bam, lay bam badam, lay bam bam, lay bam badam day. Lay bam bam, give me the soca me, and it have me going, and it have me champagne. It's all day we pumping. Lambada dam dam, and it have me going, and it have me champagne. It's all day we pumping. You've sold lambada dam dam badeo.